Uh, we are going as fast as we can. Baby went down, which means we have about 30 minutes. Look at this bag. This is dad life. Look at this bag under
We
my
have
eye.
longer than 30 minutes. She sleeps longer than 30 minutes. She's
so
been sleeping for an
anyway,
hour. Shout out to Davis Erler for that.
There's a ticking clock, so we're going to go as fast as we can. Take a breath, Vanessa.
You take a breath. You're the one that's running around.
All right, so here we go.
All right, this is going to be very hard on the spot. Before I got to pick them beforehand.
Well, I was going to say let's pick a topic so it's more than just questions. And
Ooh, how about this one?
I think...
on the fly.
Yes, and also if you could make eye contact with the audience, that would be nice.
He's trying to get me to slap him. How...
Wait. Let's do it.
Is it okay to be with a partner that you don't feel infatuated with?
Define infatuation.
Well, I can't. I didn't ask the question.
Well, what's your definition of infatuation? Because to me, infatuation sounds honeymoon. It sounds kind of like early stages. I don't know. Is infatuation sustainable? Is it something that can happen throughout the relationship?
Well, I hate to be like a Debbie Downer, but I don't think that infatuation does last an entire relationship. I mean, you're going to be attracted and you're going to have moments, but I don't think the idea of infatuation, that is a very strong word to me.
Well, you know what I like? I like that because infatuation sounds like high school to me. I like that. Okay, that may not last for the duration of the relationship, but I think infatuation grows up. I think there's this like if infatuation was a cocoon, as you build your relationship, a butterfly appears, and so instead of just infatuation, which to me sounds very young,
those are like very grabby, like lose yourself in each other.
It also feels
obsessive.
surfacey. Yeah, it feels temporary. I think that the butterfly, the evolution of infatuation is. What is it, Vanessa?
Respect, appreciation,
Yeah.
admiration.
Yeah, it's things that may not be as shiny, but are more sustainable, more meaningful, all of that. All right, next question.
Ooh, it's funny. I was just talking about this in my codependency class that I was just teaching 5 minutes ago. Your take on if he wanted to, he would.
By the way, Vanessa has a codependency course, video course coming out, and it has tons of content. So watch out for that. It's like hours, right?
Hours.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
long.
Yeah. Repeat the question.
So what's your take on this? If he wanted to, he would.
Ooh.
If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah. Can we pause for a second, and can I just say something while it's on my mind? I do a lot of bird walking. Everyone knows that. It's okay. I realized that because I struggle with patience, I had a stomachache this morning, and I thought I've come a long way, and I realized that I have snapped back because I wasn't patient enough for the Alka-Seltzer to completely dissolve all of 60 seconds. So I started drinking it midway, and the tablet of the Alka-Seltzer went down my throat. And I hear that Alka-Seltzer tablets can make pigeons explode, and it scared me because I thought my stomach was going to explode.
Really fucking weird bird walk.
It's not a weird bird walk. It's life. We put bookmarks and we come back. Don't worry about it. And so I had this moment of like, am I a child? Did I not grow? But I want to remind you as well as myself that we do snap back. It doesn't mean that you have regressed. It just means there are moments, and then you're aware of them, and then you move on. Okay, so
This is my life, you guys.
when the person says,
What's your take on if he wanted to, he would?
I think it's loaded. I think it's unfair. I think assuming someone would, assuming that someone would if he really wanted to, if she really wanted to, and without giving someone communication, direction, expression, is unfair. What do you think?
I'm conflicted because part of me feels like, yeah, if he wanted to, he would. Mm-hmm. But that also can be applied to a lot of things. So I was just speaking in my codependency class about how common I hear some variation of this term. If they loved me more, they'd quit drinking. If I only did this, then they would stop doing this. If I did this better, if I was more lovable, if I was this, right? There's always an if then. Yeah. And we were having a conversation around why that placing yourself in kind of a victim stance can be so detrimental in a relationship, right? Because then you take all the ownership onto yourself, rather than actually saying that this person is a human being with free choice and free will. They are going to choose what they want to choose. They're going to show up and act how they want to show up. Now, you are responsible for communicating, which is what you're saying. Communicating a need, communicating, when you don't text me back for a day, it feels like you don't want to be with me, or whatever the communication is. That is your responsibility. But from that place forward, it then is their responsibility, right? It's a 50-50 in a relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, if you say, if my partner doesn't have sex with me, 3 times a week, or doesn't have sex with me in this way, then it means that she's less attracted to me, right? Something like that. And again, that's unfair. That's in your head. That's not truth. It's speculation. A lot of why your partner may not be intimate may have to do with her and her journey, or his and his journey, and not you. And so whenever I hear this, like, well, if they really wanted something, or if they, really loved me, they would do that. It just sounds loaded. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
Let's see. Sorry, guys.
We do have a topic too, which we will try to tackle as well. So since this is when Vanessa and I get together, I try to maximize our time because we're also parents, and so we've got a few different cameras rolling, and we've got we're answering questions, we're doing a live, and we're doing a podcast,
and we have a baby sleeping.
Yes, so there's a ticking clock, and we're killing a lot of birds, and so.
How to get over the constant...
Wait, I'm not done. So we try to make these a little bit longer. Okay, go ahead.
How to get over the constant disappointment in dating.
Oh, this is a good one.
This is your cup of tea.
Yeah, especially today with the toxic swipe culture. Let me ask you, V, when you were single, because you didn't use dating apps a lot.
No, I used them for like a couple months, and I was like, meh, I'm over it.
Were you? Did you have a lot of disappointment while you were dating? Obviously, besides our collision.
Besides with you. Well, I was dating pre-dating apps, but yeah, I mean, sure. I was
not relationships, just like dating.
Yeah, I was single and dating for 6 years in between 2 of my big relationships, and then 2 years in between my last relationship and you. And yeah, I mean, I think that it's actually human nature for us to like get our hopes up, for us to actually date with a lot of projections. So going into anything, looking at them through the lens of like what you want them to be or what you hope they'll be versus who they really are or what they're actually showing you. And it's common and also something we really need to pay attention to.
Yes.
I've had a lot of conversations about dating with my friends who are very introverted, and I do think it's different for us because I'm very extroverted. So dating was never that hard for me because I actually just really enjoy meeting people, having conversations, meeting new people, acquiring relationships. Like that to me is fun.
FOMO. JOMO.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Fear of missing out, joy of missing out.
I can definitely empathize with like the more introverted side of this, which is like, it's like pulling teeth of having to like sit and do the whole like, so, where were you raised? Like, what do you do for a living? Those kind of conversations. But I just look at it as like, it's all field research. It's like, you're just meeting new people, having new experiences, adding to like your repertoire of relationships. I don't know. I tried to change it to like just being fun.
Yeah.
Exploration.
Yeah. So that was the answer in a wine glass, which is Vanessa. And so here, let me give it to you in a shot glass. One isn't better than the other. Sometimes you want shots and sometimes you want the wine, right?
Okay.
when it comes to dating, disappointment comes from one, expectation, and two, false advertising. So you're disappointed because you're expecting. So instead of just wanting to hear a story or meet someone that could possibly be a friend, you are pointing your love crossbow at this person, and
Expectation.
yeah, you're expecting to meet quote unquote the one. And I think this is why the one is so dangerous. It's a concept that's made by society, and it puts a lot of pressure. Is this person the one? Hey, I fell for it because when I first met Vanessa, some of my ambivalence and struggle was, okay, am I going to spend the rest of my life with this person? Oh my God, I have to be sure, right? And this is also in our book. Our start was rocky because of me falling into the trap of wondering if Vanessa was the one, right? So I think the one is dangerous. And so whenever we are dating, we consciously or subconsciously go into it with the checklist, wondering, oh my God, is this the person? Is this the one? Is this my, my wife, my partner, life partner, whatever? And I think that is a high expectation. The greater the expectation, the greater the cliff that you're going to fall off of. So that's one. Number two, because of the dating landscape, because of apps and filters and a lot of pictures that are not true, there's a lot of false advertising. There's a lot of catfishing. And so because of that, we're disappointed left and right. And so I would say if you're dating, try to not have expectations. I know it's hard. Try to not have expectations. And two, present yourself in an honest way. I played with the apps for a while before getting into this relationship. I remember swiping on someone that looked like Drew Barrymore, and Drew Carey showed up. And it wasn't an exaggeration. It was she was so far from the photos that I didn't recognize her, and I was stunned. And I bought her dinner anyway, and we had you make the choice to just kind of go with it. But inside I was like, do you want someone to instantly be disappointed because you're not presenting yourself in an accurate way? Or would you rather show up and the person be pleasantly surprised, right? So
I just think that is such an indication, though, of how much our society puts, this is partly what's wrong with dating apps. And I'm not saying dating apps are bad. I mean, they're nowadays almost the best way to meet people, but
yeah, it's common language now.
Well, not just common language. I just think it's it's like our vernacular. It's how we interact in the world, and it just makes sense. But I don't know. I still think that, and you kind of said you did this, but even in that disappointment, there's still an opportunity, I guess, to meet somebody and create some kind of connection with that person, even if that connection's not going to be based on physical attraction, right?
Your makeup and hair looks amazing today.
Thank you.
Look at your eyes. I mean, part of it is
I do want to say though, I'm not really able to read the comments in the live, but something happened to catch my eye where somebody said it's different when you're a parent, and I actually disagree with that.
Dating is different?
Like what we're saying about going into it with, like how I said, I look at it as being fun. I actually disagree with that. And here's why. Yes, there's going to be more pressure.
Yeah.
100%. I'm not minimizing that. Yes, there's more of you've got other people to factor into this equation of whether you like somebody or not. So clearly pressure, right? But I still think the act of dating can still be looked at as the same thing that we're talking about, attempting your best to not have high expectations, attempting your best to just look at it as field research, you're just meeting other humans and deciding oh, I kind of like this aspect about this person. I kind of don't like this aspect.
I think the reason why the person's saying this is because they're saying, whoever I date, I have to be picky because of my child.
Yeah, and
right?
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah.
There's more pressure. I'm saying I agree with that, but I still don't think the process of dating is necessary. This idea of disappointments, I don't think it's any different personally.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you put that kind of pressure on yourself while you're dating, is this person going to be a good father or mother? That kind of pressure. Again, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. You're putting someone through a very tight strainer.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question?
One more?
Yeah.
Boyfriend asked me to move in after 2 months. Too soon?
When did we move in together?
9 months.
Oh. Yeah.
I moved in with my ex after 6, and that was too soon.
Vanessa knocked on my door when I was living alone in the middle of the night with her suitcases already packed. hanging our relationship over our head, saying that I can't sleep without you.
I would have lived alone forever.
I would rather
happily.
I would rather save rent money. Let's move in together and build something. And I said, Vanessa, it's 4 a.m. So here's what I think.
Anxious in the relationship.
Okay.
That sounds like something more like you would do.
That is true. Here's what I think. I wouldn't put like time stamps on things and judge them. I think every relationship is different. I do think 2 months is very quick. Mm-hmm. When you move in together, it's a very different experience. You see things in that person that you wouldn't normally see. I mean, living together is a very big deal. Just expect a cold shower. Just expect to see. It's
going to be a cold shower if you move in after a year. It's especially going to be a cold shower after 2 months because you're really still in the honeymoon phase 2 months in.
My answer is a question, and that's what's the rush?
Yeah.
What's the rush? I was in a situation, I got to say, in a relationship where we moved in because her apartment had bed bugs. And so she was on her way out anyway. I happened to buy a condo. Yeah. The timing of it was like, it just makes sense to just move in. So there are situations and there are circumstances, it doesn't make it like...
I think when you live in a big city like we do, or like when I was in New York, that's what happened with my ex and I, that kind of stuff, the forced merge is way more common because... moving is really expensive and apartments are really expensive and nobody really lives alone. So,
but at the end of the day, it's a test. So, if you're ready and your partner's ready for it and you're ready to see the coffee grinds all over the counter and the dirty socks on the floor and the toothpaste. I have a lisp. I've never had a lisp in my life, and now it's so weird. I have a lisp. I'm drinking Alka-Seltzer tablets too soon. The toothpaste cap. Mm-hmm. It's one of the pet peeves that people have is that many people, I guess me, I should say I don't put the toothpaste cap on, and so it's okay. So just be prepared for that, and it's a good test because if you could actually live together and it is good, and that partnership works, then that's a huge sign. That's a great sign. Mm-hmm. It's actually one of my green flags with you. Mm. I think we do very well cohabitating. I can say my own words.
I know.
It takes me a while. Cohabitating. I have a master's degree. I'm an author.
You're smart.
Oh, thank you. Hey, let's show the audience your beautiful tattoo because last time it was fresh and she didn't want to show anyone because she had plastic wrap.
Oh, my latest.
Yeah, check it out.
It's upside down on your side.
It's a butterfly. It's very delicate, and it's cool. I like it. Okay, do you want to answer a question? Let's do something really, really exciting. 208 people in our live. Let's answer a question here.
Okay, and then I need to check.
Yes. Okay, one question. She showed it to me first. Awesome. If you have a question in the live chat,
somebody keeps writing the same thing over and over and over again, which I noticed something. No, it's something about parental alienation. But I'm just going to say to this person is that I genuinely don't know what that is, so I can't answer something I don't know. I'm going to have to research it before I do.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds heavy. Mm-hmm. Parental alienation.
If you're talking about like parental, what is it? What's our struggle? Parental preference, that we're really in the throes of. That shit is fucking hard.
Logan doesn't know I exist yet. Let's give it a couple more years. Anyway, all right, no questions. Thank you for listening, and we'll continue to keep answering your questions. Hey, we got a question here. What if your spouse doesn't know, depending on the week, if they want to be married or not? Ooh. Oh, man. I wouldn't jump to conclusions. I would actually get into therapy. I would have a mediator. Someone may not want to be married on the surface, but it turns out it's something else happening underneath, and then that person may resolve that and then realize, I actually do want to be married. There's stuff coming up from my story, my past, so because it's obviously very easy to take it personally. So before jumping to conclusions, I would explore that. And it's very hard to have conversations like this with just you and your partner. It doesn't matter if you guys don't fight or how well you communicate. Having a therapist, having a neutral party is huge.
And I will say, as the person that's been on the receiving end of ambivalence.
I love you, get away.
It can feel very unsafe and it can feel very unsettling, and it's impossible for you to show up in your fullest, intimate capacity when you feel like the rug can get pulled out from underneath you at any moment. So I want to validate that that's really hard. And actually, if you haven't already, that specifically is what you should be communicating to your partner around their ambivalence is the hard, the hurt that I just said.
And let me open a giant bag before we leave and just kind of keep it open because it's a bigger conversation. But also, why ask yourself why marriage is important to you.
What does marriage mean?
Yeah, is it important to you because you genuinely want to get married to this person? Do you feel like there's a ticking clock? Are there parents?
They're already married, no? In that relationship.
Oh, okay.
They're already married. They want to be married or not, is what you said.
Yes. All right. Thank you for listening. Be well. Didn't you hit that button there? So many buttons, baby.